Rachel, hello, and welcome to this installment of Curiosity Friday.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you with us. Rachel, I reached out to you a few days ago saying, one of the things that I've actually enjoyed in this time of social distancing is having a little more time to walk the dogs. And not today because it's a little rainy out, but most days it's almost like a street party. People are out walking their pets.
I've
Um,
seen dogs I didn't know lived in my neighborhood.
I think it's not just one or two neighborhoods. I think it's hopefully, it's a little more common than that. But I know you as a dog trainer, which means you're a person trainer,
Yep.
because the dogs know what they need to know. It's the people that need to adjust. I know that much. Um, what are you seeing during this time? I posed a couple of questions to you, and I got a fabulous, almost, I don't want to say tirade because that sounds negative. You've seen a whole bunch of experiences. So, what are you seeing during these weeks?
So I've seen a dramatic increase in the number of people that got a puppy. I know now 7 families that adopted a puppy.
Wow.
Some of whom were had it. They were thinking of doing it anyway, but maybe waiting for summer because they've got kids. But decided to go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
Um, Then I've got people who maybe have dogs that have problems being around other dogs, and they had a very sort of strict routine that allowed them to walk at quieter times of day. Now that is much harder to predict. I've had people contact me who they know their dog has separation anxiety trouble, so doesn't like to be left home alone, and they're noticing that their dog is unsettled by the change in routine, and they're concerned about what it's going to look like when we do sort of gradually start to go back to leaving the house more regularly. So a whole host of problems.
So, what do you
Change.
say to folks? I mean, the thing that prompted me to call you is my wife has a schnauzer that she basically rescued from a family with young tyrannical boys on a farm. And when it's just Sammy and I in the house, everything's fine. But when my wife is here, Sammy has to protect my wife from me.
Uh,
And now that my wife is around more, which is great, Sammy is just on the ball, on guard
yeah.
all the time. So that's my story. We don't need to get into that. But what are you saying to people?
That safety comes first. So in like for your sort of situation, then I would say maybe talk to a trainer and get some advice on how you can work on that problem. But for the concerns of what am I going to do when we go back to normal, I would say I don't think you need to really worry too much about that right now. I think, if you had your dog for a while before we all had to stay home. Dogs are pretty adaptable, and it's not going to be a drastic shift, a sudden shift for us when we go back to sort of more normal routines, and that dogs will adjust back. If you have a newly adopted dog or a puppy, then I do think that you might want to consider how you can build in some practice for those dogs to learn about sort of being home alone a little bit. Like maybe don't take them on every walk you go on.
Uh,
Um, but these are truly extraordinary and unusual times, and our dogs bring, and cats too, bring great comfort to us. And I think that it's okay to not worry about whether or not you're ruining them or making things harder for later, or and to just enjoy that connection. Dogs and most dogs enjoy tactile touch, petting, and that is, we know, good for our health, and we need that too. And we're not getting that from people outside our household right now.
yeah, yeah. I think of all those people that come to church, and many of us are a huggy bunch, and
Mhm.
for many of those people, that's their physical contact for the week. That's a lot to lose.
Yeah, I've
That's
had a
a lot to
couple
lose.
people contact me and ask, do you think it's okay if I teach my dog that they are allowed to sleep in my bed now, or they are allowed to come up on the couch now, because that was a rule that they didn't have before.
Hmm.
And in that situation, I would say I think it's completely okay that as long as that you understand that if you're changing the rules, that's going to be a little confusing at first,
Yeah, yeah.
and you may not be able to change the rule back easily either.
I was going to say, I think that'd be difficult.
Right. So in one case, the dog is much older and has not been allowed on the couch its entire life, and the dog is thoroughly confused as to what the owner wants them to do.
Oh.
But they're working on it, so they'll get it.
Okay, okay. Oh, so you're telling me not to worry so much. That's a wonderful message.
Yeah. I
Tell me more. I want to hear more good news.
I so for myself personally, we have one dog who is older. Um I We lost our other dog last at the end of last summer.
Mm,
I find myself missing him more now.
there.
And I suspect that that was probably true for some other people as well. But I think that for most dogs, it's probably nice to have their family around, um, and that they're good at giving us purpose. They're good at helping us be in the moment. Dogs are not aware that there is a global pandemic,
No, no.
so it's really easy to um, be in the routine of like I have to feed the dog twice a day, so it's breakfast and dinner time, and I have to get off the couch to let the dog out and let the dog in. Some people are really embracing this time alone with their dog and spending more time teaching their dog tricks, playing games with their dog, or just spending more time binge watching Netflix with their dog next to them on the couch. Um, so I think that you can take great comfort in the company of your pets right now and let that be something that gives you a sense of comfort. That is the same as it was before,
Good,
and that will be the same in the future.
good, good, good. Um, and I'm very aware as a dog person who is quite allergic to cats, although they are beautiful creatures. They and I share an understanding that each and every feline critter is smarter than I am. Um, I know, you know me too. I'm assuming what you're saying for dogs goes for cats and cat owners as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think that you have to know your animal's personality. Dogs that and cats that aren't particularly cuddly may or may not become more cuddly just because you're around more.
Right.
But I love kitties too. We are sadly also allergic, otherwise we would have kitties. But they too, I think, enjoy. I have a friend that decided to foster kittens from
Mm.
a local shelter. So she has them sequestered in a room, and once, twice, three times a day, she goes in and just spends an hour playing with the kittens. And
Mm.
um, she says it's really good for her. It feels really good.
Well, one of the things I've noticed in the church coffee hour chats and on the Thursday evening, yes, this is a plug, community chats, is that we're seeing more of people's pets. And
Yeah,
that was really the impetus into saying, I should see if Rachel is available because it is lovely. We delight in seeing one another's companions,
yeah,
and it's rare that we will a couple at church may nuzzle, head on a shoulder, but we're petting our pets, and it's lovely. Um, and my sense of the congregation is that there's a different spirit since we started doing the annual animal blessings, and
mhm,
there's people are willing to just be in their own critterness with one another. I
yeah,
know that's not poetically said. Um, and this seems like an extension of that.
yeah. I agree. We often don't get to share our pets other than maybe with photographs, or even sort of funny short videos, but something about the live interaction that we're getting to see more of now. So Lucas, our almost 5-year-old, is still doing his occupational therapy via Zoom,
Okay.
and this involves him doing a few yoga poses with his therapist in the beginning. And of course, invariably, because he's down on the floor, upside down or bent in half, our dog comes over and tries to get involved with him. So um, it is nice to see that those relationships, even in those moments when they're organic rather than just a still photo or a funny anecdote.
Yeah, yeah. And if I can tell a story on myself, I may edit this out. I may edit, not, I may not. I think it was Monday or maybe it was Tuesday. My wife and I had some errands, and we put the dogs in the car, and we went to Whetstone, and we're walking them in a place we haven't taken them in months. And just as we were leaving, I was thinking, oh, I've got to do this and this and this and this for work. And I didn't go on the walk with a good spirit. And our um, our boy dog, Bowie, he's one of those critters that when at least I walk him, he goes to the first scent. He'll spend 30 seconds or a minute at that. He'll walk 5 feet. He'll do another 30 seconds or a minute on that. And at first, this has happened before. I'm not going to pretend. I was really impatient. And then I said, Eric, take a deep breath. This is his walk. Let him guide you. He's the teacher you need now. Um, and within about a minute or two, I'm not going to say it was instantaneous, um, we were both enjoying it, and it was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
So my dog is my teacher. He's my guru. Um, Now he only teaches one or two things. Maybe I'm. We'll see. I don't want to limit him, but I wouldn't want to be without a pet right now. I really wouldn't.
No, I certainly wouldn't either. And I've had time to reflect and consider our younger dog. So our only dog right now is, she's a very different personality than the dog that we lost. And I have, it's this chance has given me some time to reflect on the narrative that I had come up with in my head about her personality, and
Hmm.
whether or not, because I'd always thought that she was not quite as bonded because she's not quite as tactile as the other dog had
Okay.
been.
Okay.
But I've realized that I think that because I look for more tactile connection, that I had maybe not given her enough credit,
Hmm.
um, and that she really is a very good companion. And she's very sniffy and externally focused. On walks, and I do try, and I've done the exact same thing you did, being like, okay, we're going on a walk and I'm going to go around the block, and when I get back I've just enough time to do this before I have to do that.
Right.
And she wants to do some she's on a different thing, and I have to recognize that the walk is for her and that we're together. So sometimes it's good to have that reminder to let go of your agenda.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I need that more than I care to admit. Um, and this is a question I hadn't anticipated, and it's an impossible question in some ways. People in the congregation know that my wife and I have three dogs. We no longer do. We had to let our old hound dog Ford go. We had
Mm.
to put him down towards the end of February, and we miss him terribly. Um, and it still feels like, this is 2 months later. Actually, tomorrow will be 2 months to the day. We're still settling into new patterns,
Yeah.
and I imagine that that will continue for a while for all of us.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a difficult loss, and to then on the heels of that have the world upend on you is incredibly difficult, Eric, and undoubtedly interrupts a more natural grieving and adjustment process for everybody. I'm very sorry to hear that.
yeah. Well, um, we are really actually glad to have the time we do with the dogs, and I think I'm projecting, but I'd like to think that they're enjoying the time with us as well.
I suspect that most dogs are happy to have their people around more. They maybe need a break occasionally, especially if you have kids in the house, but maybe their typical afternoon napping routine is interrupted now that you're home more. But
Yeah, yeah, there may be that.
yeah,
Maybe that. Um, is there any last thing you'd like to share with people in the congregation, Rachel?
they're welcome to contact me if they need help with something, or they have other questions about how to help their dogs, or if something that they're doing or their dog is doing is okay or not. Um, but mostly, I would let your dog draw you into the now, the today,
Great.
and enjoy that connection
Terrific.
and purpose.
You should go into ministry. Maybe you already are.
Maybe
Ra-
only about dogs. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Rachel, thank you so much. And thanks for being with us this Curiosity Friday. And my best to you, Seth, and the kids. Be well.